The other thing is accepting now. First of all, therefore we do not need to fear death at all. Which brings us back to the point that all we'll ever know is our experience of our current life. And that life is finite and limited, and therefore anything that will ever happen to you, anything, is going to be immediate to you and will never be far removed from who you are. The most beautiful thing that will ever happen to you is something that you will cherish for the rest of your life, and you will never be more than a few decades removed from it in time. So it will always have that sense of immediacy. It's a memory that nobody can take away from you, except maybe Mr. Alzheimer's. But then, that's a different story. But as your life is immediate to you, all the people, the thing is that because you will only ever experience your life from that first person perspective, it is important to you, no matter how insignificant it might be in the scheme of the universe or whatever, it is important to you, no matter what people say. To you, things that happen to you have significance, and by token of which you can form a sense of meaning to what happens in your life. And that's what people mean when they say things like, that meant a lot to me. The people that take part in your life are important to you, and nobody can take that away. That is something that is going to be present and immediate to you forever, for as long as you're going to live. You're never going to lose it. Let's put it that way, because you and your life are together, and you have to explain that. Sorry. Alternatively then, all of this was about you and your life and looking at things from your perspective. But the next step to take is to realize that this is exactly the same for everybody else. Everybody else in your life is going to be in exactly the same boat here. So anybody's life that you have taken any sort of part in, you're going to be important to that life, to some extent, even if it's only fleeting importance or little importance. But it's still going to be the case. You are still going to be important to somebody's life. If you've had a loved one die on you recently, I don't know whether that's your situation, if you were there for them in the days leading up to their death, that will, they will never be removed from that experience. Do you understand that? So that was important to them, and you have played an important part in their life. And even though in 2,000 years time nobody will remember that you existed or they existed or the part that you played in their life, that makes no difference to them. And you have played that part in their life, and that's never going to change. The same thing happens for people that take part in your life before you die. So that is why human interaction, why human relationships are important. So the other thing is about, bad things happening. Again, there's some solace to be had from the fact that you're an atheist. You don't believe in a God. So no matter what happens to you, no matter how bad it is, at least you can take some comfort from realizing that it is not a test by a God to put you through something because they have some sort of plan for you. There is no reason behind it. So there's no blame to be apportioned. If you had some freak accident, for example, or something just awful happened outside anybody's control, at least you don't have to worry about why it happened and what you could have done different to avoid it. It just did. Of course, you know, you're faced down with the stark reality. There's nobody who can solve this for you. It is up to you to do something about this. It's your problem to solve. But on the other hand, again, there is some comfort to be had, because whatever feels right for you is going to be what's right. You don't have to worry about what God might think about how you're handling the situation. You handle the situation to the best of your ability, and that's going to be good enough. It's not going to be judged by anybody who matters anyway. So again, that should give you some comfort. And the other thing you mustn't forget is that because you realize that your life is so important to you and everybody else's life is so important to you, why not take this approach? Next time you feel down in the dumps, or you feel that your life is meaningless or futile or pointless, because everybody else's life is so important to them, as important as your life is to you, why not take the opportunity when you're feeling so low and so down to look around yourself and see if there's anybody out there who needs support in some way, shape or form, and just, you know, use that as a way to pull yourself up as well as them. You know, by giving them support, it makes you feel better about yourself, and that makes them feel better as well, because you're giving them support, and so, you know, you act as crutches to each other, and that's a wonderful thing. You know, why not avail of that? Because there's always people out there who need support in some way or another. You know, take the opportunity of the fact that you're feeling down and unhappy to maybe look around and see if there's anything you can do to make things better for somebody, and go and do it. And that will then give more meaning to your life, and you know, it's a funny way of combining altruism with selfishness. You know, you're helping somebody else, and by doing that you help yourself, and there's nothing wrong with that. So just enjoy it. I mean, you're doing it anyway. Your videos are as excellent as your name suggests, so fuck it, you know, you're entertaining us. You've entertained me on a number of occasions in the past, and that's a great thing to do. Take some pride in that and take some joy out of that. I know I do. So chin up, and I hope this was of any use to you. I hope I didn't ramble too much, and I hope at least was to some extent pertinent to your situation. Okay, take care.